To there we are. We are live. Welcome to How to Build Your Own Home every Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We take questions from anyone in the world that wants to build their own home. And let me tell you, building your own home does not have to be complicated. The biggest cost savings is the removal of me, a general contractor. And I do consulting on the side with a lot of students, and I get questions and plans, and I read plans all the time. And I've made an observation about owner builders. They build more complicated homes than even a lot of builders build. They see an idea somewhere online, or they see a plan and they go, I really like that plan. And then they take it upon themselves to try to build that plan. And I've seen owner builders build things that I would never even touch because of the complexity and the risks and a lot of other factors that go into stuff like that. So I have a question for a lot of you owner builders. Why do you do that? Why do you take on such really, really challenging things? And then to make matters worse, you still want to try to do it all yourself. Now, don't be a DIY biscuit head. It just amazes me. And I think it's kind of cool in a way, because we all like to see someone take on something really, really hard they've never done before. But they take on things that even some experienced builders would just scratch their head on. And I guess that's because it's kind of cool to go at something naive. When you think, honey, it's just, if you go at it naive, you don't know any better. And then you get through the process and you go, wow, I can't believe I did that. Well, a lot of builders would say, I can't believe you did that either. So
yeah, the more we know, sometimes it can scare us to like, oh, we don't want to go through that. We already know.
Yeah, it's really, really, really funny. And I've seen probably a half dozen homes that I would not have touched with a 10-foot pole, yet owners build it. And I think that going about it blind is really, really a plus because you don't worry. You don't stress because you don't know what to stress about. You don't. You just take it as it comes. And I think that's probably a good way to approach life. Maybe we should all be owner builders in our own lives, and not have to sweat and worry. I think about foundation cracking, structural issue. I think about everything that during the course of the construction of a home. And I know a lot of builders, and this is kind of going with it in a different way, but I had a client about a year ago ask me, Keith, he wasn't a client, he just wanted some consulting, and I went and looked at a job site. And he says, is it normal for a foundation to crack this much? I go, it can be ameliorated. You can't stop cracking from happening. However, this is not the kind of cracking I would stand for. And come to find out, they didn't do any reinforcement in the slab. The slab was only about 3.5 inches thick. I go about 4.5 to 5 on a slab. It really helps things out quite a bit. And it's a little bit of an extra cost, but not that much. And I found that the less you care, the less stress you're going to have. The more you care, the more stress you're going to have. And it just goes with the territory, which is why I like doing spec builds. My daughter and I love doing spec builds because we don't have to, worry too much about the client issues and stuff like that. And the hardest thing was that, what's that, honey?
There's less, not emotion, but calming people down of things that aren't familiar to them.
Yes. Yeah. I was at my business networking this morning, and we had a really good business awareness report, and somebody started to talk about quality in their businesses, and how do you pitch your quality? How do you sell your quality? How do you tell somebody that your quality is different so that they might hire you for a service or what have you? And I brought up the idea that I care a little bit too much, and as a result, I'll stress over things, and that a lot of builders wouldn't care about, and so they can sleep at night, and I can't sleep at night. And that just it's really different between having a client that you worry and stress about, and then having a build job that you wouldn't stress about. I love doing a build for myself, or I love doing a spec build, and we put it on the market when we're good and ready. And there's a lot to be said about that. And it's kind of why owner builders can take on really ridiculous projects and probably not worry about it as much as I would worry about it if I were building a home for somebody else. But if I were building it for myself, I have tolerances, and I can deal with those tolerances. But as a builder building for a client, I don't know what their tolerances are. I know what my tolerances are. And so it's kind of a little bit of a battle. But I just wanted to hands off to owner builders. You guys do some crazy things that even me, 20 years in the trades and in the business, I wouldn't touch. I wanted to give you all some encouragement that going about it the way you are is probably better off. It's not that bad. It's pretty a really, really cool thing to do. Let's go.
Everything's work outable, right? Like we've had a couple clients who were like, I can think of 3 right off the top of my head. That one Pioneer home with no floor, or it was stacked on rocks. Like you had to lift. You were like, fine, like, oh, we're just gonna lift the house and put a foundation in, and I'm like, what? Whoa, And then you had another one that had a chopped up house, and they wanted to remodel it and make it open, and there are all these bearing walls, and so you had to bring in beams and things, and like it's all doable. It's just a matter of what's your budget.
Yeah, when it comes to a home that's almost lost, but it's a historical landmark in a way, nobody knows what to do. Of course, I know what to do. And so I was comfortable. What gets stressful is the finish side. I had a really good client, a really sweet man. He asks me about a week ago, and he says, Keith, what's your favorite part? And I go, you're not going to want to know. And he goes, I want to know. I love breaking ground. I love doing complicated things. I just don't like finish. Because that's when the owner builders or the clients really get into it. All the colors, all this and all the selections. And I just like to hand that off to somebody else. I go, walk away.
Mackenzie's good at that.
Yeah, Kinsey's really good at that. I like walking away. Like, for example, we had a really, really, really bad rainstorm yesterday. All right. And I've got 4 homes that are under my management right now in the high mountains. And we had some rain, some hail, and really, really torrential rain. And no leaks. I went and checked everything. That was great. I felt really good about the product that I put out there. We had a small leak on a home we finished up here, but that's because we had a cricket behind a silo, and I had to worry about that. And I kind of knew that's what was going to happen. So we got that patched up real quick within 24 hours. And so I can go to sleep at night knowing how well I built the home, but the finished stuff is like, I've got some finished stuff coming up on a home that's really complicated. And so I think about it, stress about it a little too much. But once it's over, then I get excited about the new groundbreaking. So anyway, just some thoughts with regard to owner builders. You guys really do some amazing things. You do some complicated things. You do some challenging things. I know a couple that just took on an omniblock home in Texas, and they called me, and they were stressing over things that really they didn't need to stress about. And it's lack of information. Once they got the information, they were all relaxed and they were good. They were good to go. Whereas other times it's not that way. Maybe they hired the wrong subcontractor, and the subcontractor was kind of in the dark about that particular technology. So the more you learn, the better confidence you're going to have. And then you can really take on some really crazy things, like building a home in Malibu that cantilevers out 125 feet over the ocean. So, who knows? Whatever you think you can do, you can probably do. So let's take some questions real quick. I wanted to open that up with some really challenging things that owner builders do.
Just a shout out for Heck K. They're in the contractor selection stage. Have takeoff prices from 3 different suppliers, including Lowe's, Lumber, 84, and Tabit's. Wish me luck. Okay, we're all wishing you luck.
Okay.
Here we go. Here's a question. Floor trusses or I-joists for crawl space?
That's a really good question. I would not do eye joists at all, and I'll tell you a couple of reasons why. You can put a hole in an eye joist, which they have them stamped and ready to go. You just knock them out. It's about a 3/4 to a 1-inch hole. Anything bigger than that, you've got to saw it out, and then you have to saw it out just perfectly in the middle of it. But you're limited to maybe a 3 or 4-inch hole. The minute you start doing ductwork, all that ductwork has to drop below the TGIs. And TGIs have some deflection. They're not perfectly rigid like you'd like them to be. And when you have to drop your ductwork below the TGIs, you don't have any access anymore underneath the crawl space. So I love engineered floor joists because you have the web structure open so you can fit everything through there, even most 90% of your ductwork. And you can have them design those so that some of them are triangles, but there's some of them are going to be a square open about that big, maybe 2 feet by 18 inches or so. And that way you can fit some larger ductwork all the way down and then tree it off from there. And plus it's far more rigid, and you have 3.5 inches to land your subfloor on and glue it. Whereas the TGIs, you barely have 3/4 of an inch on both sides to land that subfloor and glue it on there properly. So, and you have more meat with an engineered floor joist, which are made of basically 2x4s and web structure. You have a lot more meat, a lot more rigidity. It's a lot stronger, and there's too many pluses. I could go on and on, but you get my point.
Okay. From Robert, how much or how important is melamine cabinetry boxes and drawers versus plywood finished boxes and drawer cabinet?
That's not the question
Oh,
that's up there.
sorry. I had bumped up. I'm so sorry. Oh, today's a long day. Robert, how necessary is a blower door test? Do you do them? Should I even worry about it?
Only if they're required by the local permitting office. Other than that, don't waste your money. And to be honest with you, I solve most of my blower door tests by sealing the bottom foundation, so I don't have any leaks out of the bottom plate. And that's how I get about another 8 or 10% improvement on my blower door tests. But I have a blower door test that I have to do in the city jurisdiction, but I don't have to have a blower door test in my county jurisdiction, and I build in various jurisdictions. So ask your local building department, and if they ask for one, then you have to go figure that out and all that kind of stuff. If they don't ask for one, don't waste your time. It's like $800 to $1,200, and I don't like spending money that doesn't go right into the home. So if you're a builder then and you want to say I passed a high blower door test, fine, but I don't think that's going to improve the sale of the home. You only want to do it if your building department is asking for it. Okay.
Okay, here's the question I read before. How much or how important is melamine cabinetry boxes and drawers versus plywood finished boxes and drawer cabinetry?
Well, my wife might have some comments on that, but I'll just say one thing. My wife bought these really cool Rubbermaid type liners underneath the sink. It's underneath the sink that is the big issue. If you have that protected, then you can put anything you want underneath there. But the melamine acts as a subtle protection, slight protection if it's cleaned up rapidly. But if there's a leak under the sink and it's not taken care of pretty quick, even the melamine is going to swell. But the melamine can hold and bead for a while until it gets to the edge. Then it's going to swell underneath and you're going to have a problem. The straight up wood product can be protected with those Rubbermaid material if you wanted to use that. But most cabinet makers are familiar with the melamine, and so they'll use that. So it's all a matter of how you will take care of it over time and make sure that the leaks, if there are any, that they get cleaned up pretty quick. So I hope that answers your question.
Okay. JC, I heard that some of the buildings materials have Home Depot or Lowe's versions that's cheaper but lower quality. Is that true? What materials you don't suggest to buy from them?
That's a really good question. I've gone back and forth on some things. Like I do not like to buy windows from box stores. It's an absolute headache. Box stores are going to be much later in their delivery than a local supply house. For example, I can call my lumber yard here in town, and there's two of them in town that are not tied to box stores. Actually, there's three of them, and I can call them up, and I can get a bunk of wood, which is a big bunk of 2x4s, delivered within just a few hours. I can't call that on any box store at all. However, I do know that the Home Depot box store, they're moving closer in the direction of serving builders, because we're the ones that purchase the most stuff from them, and miscellaneous things, stuff like that. I do. I used to buy a lot of stuff from them. I buy less and less from them because we're sourcing stuff online and we're buying things in bulk, especially lighting and stuff like that. I don't buy any plumbing at all from those sources. I do buy landscaping products, but not all of them. I get all my landscape products from a local nursery. To be honest with you, I get emergency things from box stores, but I don't even buy my lumber anymore from box stores. I used to get a really good deal, but guess what? The local lumber yards are actually beating the deal on the box stores right now in this particular market. If things change drastically and the interest rates drop and there's a huge boom in building, that will change. So I could really talk forever about that. I just wanted to give you a piece of thoughts that I have. I'm getting less and less from box stores than I used to back in the day, if that helps.
What do you think about lights? Because we used to get lights from those box stores, but now there are some like specialty light stores here in town. Do you prefer those ones, or does it really matter for lights?
I don't like buying any lights from any box store, mainly because the lights that you buy at box stores are huge purchases made in massive bulk, and they sell them throughout the nation. And so, excuse me, it's sneezing. They're not really up to date with new technology, not at all. So I can go online with a lot of different lighting sources, and I can see new trends, new ideas in lighting that would never filter into the box stores even remotely fast. It might take a year or two or three before you see some of those designs all the way into a box store. For example, I can go to a box store and I can get an LED flush mount LED light, but it still has the transformer that's bulky. I can go online and get an LED light that doesn't have the transformer as bulky, and they'll fit in a regular 3-inch J box. Whereas the box stores are very slow at adopting new technologies. So, I mean, just on lighting alone, I don't buy. I send my clients to a lighting store, or they go online and they find all kinds of stuff they want online, and they kind of lighting is one of those things that's really a la carte. It's they find something here, they find something there, and they find something over there, and they just piece it together. So
yeah, and then you don't match up colors very well if you do that.
Right.
So you can get down to it all depends on what kind of home you're building. Like if you're building really custom luxury, you want all of that to match, even to the little drains in the showers and tubs and sinks, and the trim on the tile. Like you want it all to match. But if you're just building a home to live in that's standard, and maybe you're going to live there forever, for generations, and like the box stores are great. Here's another one, like appliances. I love going there to get appliances. You can look at the scratched and dinged area, because we have a lot of people that are like, oh, we don't like it, and return it. Well, those box stores can't sell it for the higher price. And I usually, for my rental that we got, I can usually find some pretty good deals, like a third of the cost, just because there's a little scratch or a ding. But if I'm building luxury, no, I'm going right to the source. So I like Z-Line. It's high luxury, but more affordable. They're out of Reno, Nevada, and they've been really great. So if you are an owner builder, you can reach out to them because they have builder prices.
Just say you're a builder, and you can work it out with them. So I hope that it's a really loaded question. So there's a lot of
It
thought
is.
to consider there. So
Okay, here's another one. Robert, I got a drywall bid to increase from 1/2 inch to 5/8 inch drywall. It increases about $4,000. Is that worth it?
no, not at all. You can take that $4,000. You can probably put it on insulation on the outside of the home, to be honest with you, and that would be just 1 inch, and it wouldn't change any flashing or any need for flashing at all. And you can probably put 1 inch of mineral wool on the outside, and you would increase your R value, increase your sound deadening quality, and increase your fire retardant capacity, and eliminate mold potential on top of all that. This is a really good question because sometimes we see, oh, we get pitched an option in an estimate. We can increase that thickness just this much. It only costs you $4,000, and we think that's nothing. Well, that's really almost a 75% of the way of buying the insulation to wrap your entire home. Now, that's a better deal. That's value. So always think about the additions and upgrades that subcontractors are trying to sell. Now you're going to have that 5/8 in the garage because that's fire rated, but you don't need it throughout the rest of the home. Put your money in a better arena than thickening your drywall. If you had another shared wall with a twin home, of course that'd have to be 5/8 as well. But stay away from extra costs in that arena where you can't measure that value. There's no increase of our value. There's no increase in sound deadening quality. There's no increase in mold protection. There's no increase in fire protection. I can go on. There's no real increase in value. They're just thinking it's great when in fact it's not that great. Okay.
I know when I think of $4,000, I go straight to the kitchen. I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh, maybe I can get that stove I really want, or that big fridge, or maybe I can get better cabinets, or that backsplash, or
or that sectional.
Lots of fun things. Okay, good luck. Okay, let's see. Anderson window package, 45 grand. Any suggestions on less expensive quality windows?
Something, when it comes to slider doors, I like to expend a little more money, mainly because I want a better slider door and I want to be able to open it up with a finger. But when you have to jerk a slider with your full hand and both arms, that's not good. So I do try to spend money on good sliders, and Anderson sliders, they're not that bad. They're really good. But as far as the window package, to be honest with you, I really weigh that based upon 3 factors. Where you live, your climate zone, that's going to say a lot. Are you factoring in passive solar? If you are factoring in passive solar, like I've done on a home up north, then the window is not that much of a big issue. If a lot of my windows are facing the north and it's in a cold environment, then I would I really, really want to make sure I get some good windows. And you might even think about double pane or triple pane or, all that. But to be honest with you, all windows today that you buy are double pane, and they have argon gas in them, and they have a thermal break embedded in the framework. I would try to spend money into an arena that might give you more value. Like you might not want white vinyl. You might want black vinyl, black on black on the inside. It's kind of a trend right now. Looking at where trends are and spending money there, but then still getting affordable windows, and even going to a box store if you so choose, or to a local supplier, and then getting some regular builder grade windows. And there's a lot of them out there. To be honest, I build a lot of high-end homes, and I don't put a lot of money in windows unless the client actually wants it. And I'm very clear about that because I design my homes to capture passive solar, so it's comfortable all day long. And then I don't have to focus on the window. I'm giving you just a real nuts and bolts on this whole approach. And I've looked at windows left and right. You wouldn't believe how many manufacturers there are for windows. I mean, I thought about trying to do videos on windows. It's insane. It's crazy. There's so many manufacturers. I've seen clients of mine, I've seen owner builders buy windows in Europe, Sweden, China, all over the place. And they go to great lengths to either get something for cheap, but it's not that great to install, or they get something super expensive, but it's so costly, it's really hard to showcase the ROI, the return on investment for that. That's why I put all my money into design, better installation, better finish, not just the fenestration. Fenestration is a short word for windows and door openings. That's what fenestration means. But I put money on the exterior. I put it where it really matters to me. And I hope that answers your question. No matter what you do, that window opening is still going to be a leak for heat and cold. It's going to be a leak. You go up to a window during the cold at night. Let's say it's a vinyl window. You still touch that window, even though it's double pane window, it's still going to be cold. Your windows are the leaky parts of your home. They will wick cold and heat through that glass. The argon does the best job it can at being that divider, that thermal break, but those are the weakest spots. The best thing you can do is not put a lot of windows on the cold northern sides of the home where it's going to be a constant problem. If you have that's why climate, it really says everything. Like if you're in the Northeast, you have to have windows that can sustain high winds, and they have to have a rating that deal with the high winds. If you're going into high altitude, I can build at 10,000 feet, or I can build at 2,000 feet. If I'm building at 10,000 feet, I have to have a different argon gas PSI in those windows built for that high altitude. So again, climate says everything about windows, and then after climate, design, and after design, the real cost that you want to expend in windows. So I should do a whole post on that, honey, shouldn't I? It's a lot of it's building science. The more building science you know, then you can make a more informed decision on what windows to buy.
Okay. Leanne, I have 2 corners of the house that can't have gutters. Should I have some sort of leader boxes made attached to the corners to catch the water down to a downspout, or should I do an in-ground drain?
Oh, you mean a downspouts in the drain on those corners? I'm not sure.
2 corners of the house that can't have gutters. So maybe she meant downspouts?
Yeah, downspouts, gutters. Maybe because there's windows, I don't know. There should be some sort of a siding that they can come against. You can put them against the other corner. If it's like 60 feet long, talk with your gutter guy. They have a maximum distance in order to get the slope they need to drain that gutter. And I've had homes where the length was too long, and I split it. So half of it's going to one corner, half of it's going to the other corner. But you don't necessarily have to have a downspout in a corner. You can move it off 6 feet, 8 feet. I've got a home right now where I've got downspouts right in the middle of 2 walls, literally in the middle of walls, because it just worked out best that way. I couldn't put it on the corner. And I typically don't like to put them on the corner if I don't have to, because that's the best place for damage. If you put it close up against the wall and you have your pipe in the ground coming up to take that water away from the home, you can decide where those gutters are going to be, So it doesn't have to be on that corner. I don't know the layout of your home. It's hard to make a guess. But imagine bringing it in 10, 15 feet past the window and then dropping it down there. They can do that. It's not a problem. So.
Okay. It looks like there was some addition to the Anderson window package. Let me just go down. Well, I'll get back to that. Okay. JC sent this one is about the box stores and things to avoid. So they're asking, how about sheetrock, roofing, and siding materials? Are those things to avoid from the box stores, or are they okay at the box store?
No, sheetrock is fine because you can get it at a discount when you buy it in bulk. At the regular supply houses, you're not going to get a discount when you buy in bulk. You will get a discount if you buy in bulk at local box stores. So sheetrock is fine, and that sheetrock is sheetrock. You really can't get any better than that. Siding materials, I don't. Most of the siding materials at box stores, unless they're special order items, are all vinyl, and I don't put anything vinyl on a home, especially on the siding part. And the roofing, again, that's all asphalt. The only thing that box stores sell are asphalt. They don't sell anything else. No metal roof, no standing seam roof, no tile roof. They don't even sell any of that stuff. They sell things for people that want to fix their home or do a quick, cheap fixer-upper, and that's about it. They don't have high-end specialty items at box stores, unless, of course, it's a specialty order, which they might be able to do. So again, box stores are very, very limited, to be honest with you, especially with custom and luxury homes. And that's why when I built a lot of affordable homes and flipped homes and rentals and stuff like that, the box stores are my best friend. But now I use less and less of them as the years progress. So.
Okay, the Ma Pearl. What is the best method to protect hardwood floors when cabinets are delivered and installed?
If it's a glue down floor, I put the glue down floor first. I don't like floating floors.
No. What's the best method to protect the hardwood floors and cabinets? You can get this paper stuff. There's a couple things. There's the paper protector. What was it?
It's called backer board. It's a roll of cardboard, and they have it in a lot of the box stores. It's like $25, $29 a roll, and you just roll it out, and then you put it down with painter's tape, just that blue tape. But sometimes that painter's tape can leave a stain, so be very, very careful not to leave it down too long. Mm-hmm. And it's like a nice piece thick of cardboard, and it protects a lot, but you're still going to want to keep things clean. The two things that can do damage to your floor are screws that fall down from electricians, and also rocks that are carried into the home from a gravel, something outside. Those are the two things that can do the most damage. So keeping things clean, even with the cardboard, is kind of key. And you put it down, overlap at each other, and you put tape down, and it's going to stay down there for quite some time. But backer board is what they call it. And you can find it at a lot of box stores.
Backer board?
Yep, backer board. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it reminded me of the shower backer board stuff.
No.
Okay. Pros and cons for tape, texture, and paint garage.
Actually, it's called ram board. I think it's called ram board. Sorry, honey.
Yeah, that didn't make sense to me.
I think it's called ram board.
Maybe I know Brady just got on here. Brady, do you remember? What's that? I'm looking down here to see if you are hearing me, Brady.
Yeah, it's called ram board. Sorry, not
ram board. Yeah, ram board. Thank you. Thanks for fixing.
They even have some of it for stairs too. So it looks like that, and you can even cover stairs, and it's really nice. That's a lot of damage. The one spot that you really want to cover is the threshold on doors. Now, I don't buy doors from box stores because they don't come protected. I always buy my doors from a local manufacturer, and they put a protection on the threshold, and it really protects that door because you're bringing in boxes, pianos, cabinets, everything, and they really get banged up. So that protection is really nice to have, and you don't have that with local box stores. So
the most important thing to protect besides a wood floor, because that's very important, is also your tubs. You need to make sure you protect your tubs, keep the box, keep it covered, build something to cover it while the mudding and all that goes on, because those guys drop tools and chip your tub, and it's not a good thing. If you can protect your tubs, that's a really good thing.
Yeah, I usually have my framer save a 3/4 inch subfloor plywood off to the side, and he'll cut it the size of the tub, and then we'll wrap it with some plastic or even some leftover carpet or something, and then they'll put it right over the tub. That way, tile guys and drywall guys can stand on it because it's 3/4 subfloor and not have to do any damage to the tub at all. So that's really something to do. But you can ask your framer to do that in advance if they see the tub there and you may want to have your plumber deliver it so that he can measure it, and then he'll cut it and have it ready for you.
Yeah. And somebody
ought to build something.
Don't take that plastic off. I know some people are like, so excited it's here, unwrap it. No, don't unwrap it.
somebody ought to build, that would be a business to protect, a tub protector, and it'd be cool. Okay.
Here we go. Any need to put cement board in the bathroom floor?
A lot of tile guys don't use that anymore, mainly because if there's a difference in elevation, it's really hard to fix that. You have to grind it down. So most tile guys use either a Curdy product or a traditional lath product that follows the contour of the floor much better. So, that's used in fireplaces in a lot of places. It's used in a lot of other areas as well. But fewer and fewer people are using that hardy board. Which is cement board. It's the same thing.
Okay, Robert, I got a carpentry bid to put in 10-inch tongue and groove interior wall wood. It is $4 a square foot just for labor. Does that sound reasonable?
That's not too bad. I've seen it higher for flooring because of the glue, but make sure that he supplies his own nails.
This is tongue and groove.
Yeah, I know, the tongue and groove. And here's the thing. Are they going to glue it on or not? And if they're going to glue it, is he going to provide the glue? You're going to have to glue it on because a lot of that's just going to go right up against drywall. And that nail is not going to be enough in the drywall. You need to hit some stud work in order for it to really hold. So that's why it's going to be glued. So if he provides the glue and the nails, that's not too bad. But ask him if he supplies the glue and nails on that. I don't think he'll supply the glue because the glue is pretty pricey. But if he supplies the nails, that's not too bad.
Okay, this is there's some chat going on the side of the comments just about like extra information. And if you're in the self-managed program, or how to build your own home, if you go to that website, and then we have courses, if you go there and you're in the self-managed program, you're also get an invite. It's from my personal email, so it'll be different. So it might go to spam, but we have a Discord group that everybody's in there talking different areas. They share subcontractors and questions and things that happen. So make sure if you don't see that email, you can go into comment the instructor and we can get you into that Discord. It's a timed link, so you have to just reply back to the email and I can get you a new link to get into the Discord group. Okay, let's see. Okay, Brady's talking about something that happened to him about windows.
Okay.
The short of it is we used custom triple pane windows from Dorwin in China and had the center pane shatter from heat this weekend because the center pane was not tempered like the outer panes. Wow.
Yep.
And then it goes, Anderson triple pane have all three tempered. Never would have had the problem with them.
Yep. You run the risk of buying something overseas, especially from China.
Okay, and then they're talking about warranties and stuff like that.
I had a student buy some windows from China, and the frames came separate from the glass. So he had to insert the glass in the frames, and he had to caulk it just perfectly. It was not fun. It was really a pain. So.
Okay. Leanne clarified her gutter question. What I meant is they can't have gutters because it's an outside corner where two gable roof planes coverage. So there's a valley where a lot of water would be coming down, but nothing to catch it.
She must be having a large eave. It sounds like she has a large eave, and it's hard to reach out there. I can't visualize
It's
that right
two
now.
gable roofs. So I wonder if isn't this the gable roofs? And they
Yeah,
come,
that's a gable roof.
yeah, so they're coming together and there's no way to put a rain gutter there because of the gable roofs.
Well, you don't run it across that way. You only do it on the drip edge. You only put a gutter on the drip, the shed that's coming down this way, and at the very bottom of where the softened fascia and the eave are. That's the only place you put the gutter.
Hmm.
So,
Leanne, maybe you need to send us a picture in the Discord because I'm pretty sure you're in Discord.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, here we go. If you had the option to choose CMU or poured concrete crawl space, what's the better option for North Carolina and the clay consistency there?
That's a good question. It'd probably be just a solid concrete. I wouldn't do CMU wall, mainly because the CMU wall is a lot more labor to install than the concrete. And the concrete would be a solid pour. The CMU wall could have some separation, even though you're going to have rebar in it. You could have some separation between the grout lines, and you could have a possibility of leak, a greater possibility of leaks in that than a solid concrete. I've dealt with both. I've dealt with CMU wall guys, and what's going to happen is you're going to pay more in labor. And when you start paying more in labor, two different subcontractors, by the way, when you start paying more in labor, you're taking away more money in actual materials in the home. So always put your money into materials, and then you put your money into labor, but don't start spending double on labor. I once had a concrete guy talk me into doing a 1.5 foot stem wall with a CMU block. And so I hired my mason to come put it in, and they wet set them. So he poured the concrete, had everything level just perfectly. All they had to do is pop them in, pop, and he put in the rebar that would bend into the slab foundation. He charged me $3,200 for that, and I just about flipped. And I go, "You're going to charge me $3,200 for work that took you less than two and a half hours to do, and it had no material on your side, and I supplied all the block." I had to push back on him. So anytime you're increasing your labor by having another subcontractor come in and do something, whereas just one subcontractor could do, you are going to pay more in labor, whether you like it or not. So if one subcontractor can do it all with a stem wall, then great, do it. Unless for some reason the engineer or some reason the climate or some reason the site logistics are telling you to do it a different way. But if not, go with a full concrete rather than the CMU wall.
Okay. Ma Pearl, I'm sorry. I did see this question and then I forgot to go back to it. She says, pros and cons to tape, texture, and paint garage where the washer and dryer will be. I would prefer to have it all done because it just has a cleaner feel and you can keep it clean, especially if you have to go in there all the time with the washer and dryer. That's just from like my personal opinion. Keith, what do you think the pros and cons are to having the garage taped, textured, and paint?
You can't factor in a cost savings. It's absolutely impossible. You can't go to a subcontractor and say, "Oh, don't do that wall. Just give us the money." Well, guys, it's like less than 7 minutes to do. And he can't factor in that cost. You know what I'm saying? So just have it all done and not try to parse out things that you don't want done in texture, thinking you're going to get a cost savings.
Well,
you're not.
Sometimes people don't do their garages. They don't tape, texture, and paint their garages.
Yeah, let's just focus on the laundry for now.
No, well, her laundry is going to be in the garage.
Okay, then just do it.
I would just do it
because it's not that much more. They've got to tape it anyway, and when they tape it, they've got to sand it down to get it smooth. The texturing is just nominal. It's right. It's hardly anything. And a lot of times when you resell a home and you open up the garage, they see it as unfinished. If that was textured and then painted, which is not hard to do, and they do garages all with one color anyway, it's typically a satin or a flat or something, and they do it all one, and it looks finished. And then if you ever have to resell the home, it's easier to patch. It looks finished. Nobody can complain. So.
It will make you feel good. You're going to have this new home, and it's going to be so beautiful. Just finish it. It's like when you get dressed up for a going out on the town, and you didn't put in your earrings. Just put in your earrings and putting on your necklace. Just finish it off and be pretty when you do your laundry.
Listen to my wife. She's super smart.
It'll make you feel good. It really will. Okay. Okay. So here she is, back to the gutters. There's no eaves or fascia. Keith, are you there?
Yeah, no eaves or fascia.
Yeah, I really need a picture now.
Yeah, I really need a picture now. We probably have a what's called I call them what do you call them? Monopoly house. Well, they're just flat, and the roof comes down flat.
Oh.
And I'm thinking that's what you're talking about. No matter what, you have a few inches, or you have a half inch where the you're going to want a gutter there if that's the case, because that gutter will fit underneath the drip edge. So the water will come off, and rather than go right straight down the house, it's going to go into that gutter, and you're going to find it down to your house, down the side of the house. So if you have no eave and no fascia at all, you still have the ability to you're going to have a drip edge, and that drip edge is going to be about 2 to 2.5 inches aluminum, and it's going to come off that roof. And the drip edge just bends out like 1/4 inch at the very bottom. They can slip the rain gutter underneath that, and then that will capture anything coming off the roof.
Here we got it.
Yeah, talk with your rain gutter.
Discord. There it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does she do with her rain?
Okay, that one there, it's that corner one. That's a rain gutter that's going to come around the corners and extend only about 1 foot. So when water comes off into that valley, it will go into that corner rain gutter and eventually find its hole. It's a different kind of rain gutter design. It doesn't go all the way across the wall. Obviously, that would look ugly. But it's just a small little, it wraps around the corner like 6 inches or 10 inches. That's all it does. And then when the water comes down into that valley, it just hits that corner, and then it finds its way down into the drain spout. Talk to your gutter guy. He'll know what to do. So.
Okay, perfect. I'm so glad you sent that picture. And I scrolled down.
Yeah, I could not picture that one. I couldn't put it together.
That helped a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Got the picture. Oh, also the mauve pearl, she says that it's going to be used for recreation also. She'll put on the earrings. Okay. I'm going to see a picture. But recreation, that's fine. That'll be good. Oh, here Doug has a comment for Leanne. Hang a chain and let it take the water down to a drain. I've seen those. We have a couple of those in Cedar City.
I had a client up in the mountains, and he had to design for a home. This is going to sound awkward, like that picture you just sent. Imagine that corner, and that's where the front door is. And so all the drainage is coming right off in front of the front door. And I had an architect do that to me, and it was not fun. I had to do some real finagling to redirect the water away from falling right in front of the home. Architects are not that smart sometimes. They just design things because it looks trendy, it looks pretty, but they don't look at the functionality of it. And the biggest functionality is water flow. If you can't think in terms of where water is going to run and how it's going to be captured, then you shouldn't be designing homes. You should be living in them, not designing them. So.
Okay, so I'm just coming in for some technical things because it looks like Leanne can't see all the comments. And Brady got a point that I didn't know about this, that it's possibly because we are doing the 2 streams. We're on a system called StreamYard. And so it has all this. We're also on Facebook and LinkedIn and some other ones. So it's one place where we can stream all at the same time. But I didn't realize that the comments are not everybody can see all the comments. So this is new to me. And I'm just going to hit a button to see what this does. Okay, so maybe I'll start doing this. This has, I can show all the comments on there. Okay, so let's see what okay, maybe that's what I'll do from now on, Leanne, is just put all the comments as they come in to the side. Hopefully that helps you.
Yeah, on that question, the comment that Doug left in Utah regarding having a chain, let it take the water down a drain spout. That's great unless you're in a cold climate. You need to heat that with a heater element, because you could build up so much ice on that chain, it could actually rip down the entire downspout and the entire gutter system. So you'll see, look, when you're in mountain climates or cold climates, where they even rain gutters, they will take a heating element and they'll shove it down that downspout to make sure that it all melts. Otherwise, it can clog and build up. And then the weight of that builds up to the point where the entire thing just comes right off the wall. So again, climate says everything. It tells you everything that you need to do and how to do it. That's why whenever people leave a question, I go, my first question is about 90% of the time, where are you in the country? What's your climate like? And then it tells me everything about your building science and things you need to look out for. So anyway, I think we're done there today.
Yeah, I just want to see what it looks like when I add a comment here.
Okay.
I want to see if it shows. So I'm putting a comment and then you can see. Oh, it looks like okay, Facebook comes up. Okay, now I hope you guys can all see.
Yeah.
Now we can see the Facebook. You can see all comments.
Yeah. Okay, we're done for the day, everyone. Thanks. We'll be here again next Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Go to howtobuildyourownhome.com if you're looking to get some help with being your own owner builder. It's got a checklist, a budget to die for, draw sheets, subcontractor agreements, and video instruction throughout the entire process. It's very, very invaluable. And we started this program a couple years ago, and we have not increased the price. We've kept it where it needs to be just to help as many people as we possibly can. Again, the biggest cost savings in your home is being your owner builder, not being a DIY biscuit head. You don't need to go there. It will cost you more down in the long run. So we'll be here next Thursday. And again, if you're not able to be here, go to How to Build Your Own Home, contact the instructor. I will read those questions. I had a lot that I couldn't get to today because I'm down in town today, but I will print them up next week and I will read them first so that if you can't be here, come to the live chat that's recorded, come to it later. You can watch it and I'll get to those questions first. Until then, we'll see you guys next Thursday. You guys have a great weekend.
Okay, thanks everyone. See ya.